Okay, so sit yourself on your left, come into a good cross-leg position. So feel that you can just kind of level yourself out. Feel that there's kind of genuine balance at the seat bones. Walk your feet underneath your knees, and then just make sure that everything feels level. Move the buttock flesh if you need to, and then grip around your knees and lift and open your chest. So draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. Just take some deep inhalations in through the nose and out through the nose. So in Light on Pranayama, Mr. Iyengar describes the inhalation as the type of breath where you take in the scent of a beautiful flower. So really, that doesn't really work if you've got hay fever, in fairness, but it's just the aroma rather than the pollen we're talking about here. But just take in the deep breath so that the breath reaches out into the tips of the periphery of the lungs. So you expand upward and outward with the chest, and allow the chest to lower and the rib cage to gently contract with the out breath. Just feel the expansion and the contraction of these floating ribs around the side. Bring your hands into Namaste, pressing the palms firmly together, lengthening from the armpits into the elbows, elbows into the heels of the hands into the fingertips. With an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. So just work to fill the lungs to their maximum, filling both lungs evenly, listening to the sounds of the breath, the internal and the external sounds. So with the in-breath, there's an external sound at the front of the nostrils. But then there are internal sounds as the lungs open and expand. As you exhale, the principal sound is internal at the back of the throat, but then there is sound at the nostrils, an external sound. So attune your ears to the breath, to the internal and the external sounds of the breath. Within the expansion and the natural contraction of those floating ribs. And then gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. Allowing your heart area to fill with the abundance of positive feeling. And then just hold on to that feeling as you lower your arms, rest the backs of your hands on your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, just allow your eyes to softly open. Just grip around your knees and lift and open the chest. Drive the chest upwards. So you feel that the chest, as it expands with the in-breath, it's almost like you kind of lift up the whole kind of breath, the whole torso feels like it's kind of filling with helium and lifting you up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, turn to the left side, to the right side. Just turn to the right, so follow me. So turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen from the left to the right. Filling the lungs with lots of air in order that it almost feels as though the body is full of, or the upper body is full of helium, lifting you up away from the floor. Holding onto that lift as you exhale. Remember, we've been working this week with this concept of working to 90%. Just assess where your level of effort is right now. If you just cranked yourself around to 90, or if you cranked yourself around to 100, using each exhalation to turn a little bit more. Come back to the center, grip around your knees, lift and open the chest. So just sharpen the action of the legs by, sometimes your foot just kind of rests on the top like this, on the top of the foot like this. Try and sharpen the action by bringing the outside edge really sharply down into the floor so that the legs start to kind of come to life. Lift and open the chest, take a good deep in breath. And then with the exhalation, turn to the left, but maintaining that foundation with the legs. So if the outside edge of the foot is making contact with the floor, pressing into the floor, then the legs become more consciously alive. Keep breathing and feeling as though you're lifting up towards the ceiling, and use the out breath to turn. But avoiding 100% effort. The kind of physical effort that you don't put in becomes mental effort. So we balance our physical body with our mental body. Come back to the center. Just come up off your lift and then just come up into, you're going to go straight up into dog down. So just sit back on your heels for a moment and just feel that the shins make good contact with the floor. So you press the shins down into the floor. You feel that the shins make 100% contact with the floor. So often when you sit back on your heels, there's a part of the shin, usually kind of somewhere around the lower middle shin, that doesn't make very good contact with the floor. So you have to kind of work to lengthen the knee away from the foot so that the whole of the shin skin makes contact with the floor. Just lift and open the chest. Press the top of the shin into the floor so that the legs start to activate, and then raise the arms up over your head. Press the top of the shin, pressing that down onto the floor so that the thighs react. Stretch into the fingertips. So the action is pressing the shin into the floor so that you're almost going to lift up off the floor, but you stay down. So the seat bones almost feel like they're going to part company from the heels, but it's like they're just kind of gently welded together. Lengthen up into the little finger side. And then just release the legs, release the arms. Come up onto all fours, have your little fingers right on the edge of the mat. Stretch the thumbs towards each other, turn your toes under. And then with bent knees initially, let's come up into dog down. So bend the knees, stamp the neck of the big toe firmly into the floor, and then stretch into the little toe side of the foot. Stamp the little toe firmly down. So as you do that, maybe you notice that your legs start to straighten, and that's good. That's what we want. So press the little toe side down. Then press the top of the shin towards the back of the calf. Press the top of the shin, top of the shin bone towards the calf muscle. Draw the kneecaps into the sockets, hit the bottom of the thigh muscle, the femur bone, the bottom of the thigh muscle, press it back towards the back of the knee, towards the back of the calf, sorry, towards the back of the thigh. And then lift the bottom of the thigh muscle up towards the top of the leg. So again, just working at 90%, because 90% gives us somewhere else to go. 100% is total, isn't it? Breathe nice and softly. Press the top of the shin back. Press the bottom of the thigh back. Soften the jaw. As you inhale, inhale to its maximum. Feeling those floating ribs. Expand with the in-breath. And gently contract with the out-breath. Feel light with the in-breath. I'm holding you too long, then just rest. If you can stay and maintain a little longer, then do. Working to make that breath really soft. Keep it as if you're still in swastikasana. Okay, come forwards, step forward, come up into the standing position. And then just have your feet as wide apart as your mat, turning your toes inwards, lining the edge of your foot with the edge of your mat. Lift and open the chest, squeeze your elbows together, and then come forwards. Use blocks for your hands if you need to. Forwards, keeping the front chest lifted, squeezing the elbows together, and then reach down and find the floor. If you can't find the floor, then use blocks like this. So blocks, but have the blocks underneath your shoulders. Have your hands underneath your shoulders. So half uttanasana is a really useful pose because it helps us to assess our level of energy. So hit the upper shin back. Identify whether both legs are working evenly. Work at 90% and progressively move towards 95. Extend the chest forwards. Really flatten the back. Breathe in nice and softly. So Ian, try putting your hands on the wall rather than coming all the way down. See if you can put your hands on the wall at hip height. So it might help your shoulders, because your shoulders always look quite kind of restricted in half uttanasana. So bring your hands to the wall, straighten your arms, and then just work your legs in the same way. Keep your head lifted, look towards the wall. Straighten your arms, be on fingertips. Be on fingertips on the wall, that's it. So your shoulders, keep your hands at hip height. Really activate those legs. Keep your head lifted, don't drop your head. Looking forwards, that's it. Breathe in nice and softly. If you can, you're going to keep the front chest lifted and then reach around the backs of your ankles, the backs of your heels, and then draw the body in, but maintaining that shin and that top of the thigh. Just work at whatever level is right for you. If you've got problems with your back, then you just stay high in the pose. If you don't have problems with your back, you can come forwards, or if this doesn't aggravate your back, you can come forward. But work with caution, work with consciousness and awareness. Broaden out the abdominal region as you come down, drawing the abdominal walls back. Okay, release your ankles and then bring your hands into your hips and then come up into a standing position. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to. Okay, so get yourself a belt and put that belt around your shoulder and then come into standing position, into Tadasana. So we've been working, because it's been warm this week, hasn't it? We've had high temperatures this week. We've been working on poses that kind of just allow us to extend in the heat. But what we've maybe neglected are the shoulders. So the shoulders are really good for giving us lots of energy, especially in this type of weather. So we're going to do some work in the shoulders. So lift and open the chest, drive the chest upwards, press the shins back, press the tops of the bottoms of the thighs back, turn the thighs inwards, and then tuck the tailbone in without hitting the thighs forwards. And then lift and open the chest. So we're going to do Gomukhsana. So just stretch your right arm forwards and then turn the palm. So turning the palm is not just turning the hand, it's turning the tricep around towards the bicep. So rotate the tricep around towards the bicep so the upper arm rotates as well. And then keep the arm straight. Try and get the palm to face the ceiling. Keep rotating that tricep around to the bicep, and then you bend the elbow and assist that hand up your back with the other hand, like I'm doing here. So get that hand as close to the neck as you can, and then stretch up with the left hand. Reach up, and then keep the elbow the highest part, and then see if you can take hold. Now, I'm pretty stiff in shoulders at the moment, so I'm going to get hold of my belt and then just walk the hands towards each other. If you can, you kind of get hold of fingertips. But on this side, especially, I'm super stiff, so I'm kind of struggling to do that. But take hold of the belt or take hold of the other hand, pull the bottom elbow down, lift the top elbow up. Continue to take deep maximum breaths. Listen to the sound of the breath. So the top elbow reaches up. Try not to kind of let the head kind of fall over. Just let the head rise up to the ceiling. Lengthen from the armpit into the elbow of that lifted arm. Lengthen from the shoulder to the elbow in that lower arm. After you've been there for a little while, see if you can just creep your hands together on the belt or take hold of more of your hand on the, if you got hold of your fingers. Okay, and then just gently release that top arm, straighten it up and release it. And then you might need to just drop the chest a little. Just gently allow that arm to release. It will feel like it's stuck, don't worry, it's not. And then just spread the palms, turn the palms all the way out. Just observe the energy of that right shoulder. Just feel how the shoulders feel dissimilar. Maybe how there's more energy in the right shoulder than in the left. So if you're using the belt, you might want to put it around the other shoulder and then stretch forwards with your left hand. Keeping the legs firmly in Tadasana. Turn the palm and rotate in the upper arm all the way out to the tricep, around to the bicep, and then keep rotating that tricep around to the bicep as you reach around, turning the palm up to face the ceiling, and then assist that hand up the back. So get hold, some people can get hold of the elbow and pull the elbow in. I can't reach there, but you can still kind of work to get the hands, fingers towards the neck, and then rise up with the right arm. So the previous pose should still be in that right shoulder. So it should feel like you've got to stretch out of that. And then keep the elbow the highest thing and then reach down. So on this side, I can take hold. So you get hold of your fingers. So one side is likely to be kind of more flexible than the other. So I've had problems in my right shoulder, so that's why on that side it's more stiff. But on this side, I can open up. So lengthen from the armpit into the elbow of that lifted arm, extending that elbow up towards the ceiling, pulling the elbows apart, drawing that bottom elbow down towards the floor, lengthening with the bottom elbow from the shoulder down to the elbow. Keeping the legs really active in Tadasana, hitting the shins back, hitting the thighs back, tucking the tailbone in. After you've been there for a little while, see if you can just creep your hands or you're closer together on the belt, or the fingers a bit more closely together. So maybe when you get hold of your hands, maybe the little finger doesn't make very good contact. So see if you can creep them together a little more. So Gomukhsana, the head of the cow. And then just gently release that top arm. And then just softly, just drop the chest a little. So the other arm releases, and then just turn the palms all the way out. Just listen to the sounds of the breath. And then bring the arms forward and raise your arms up in Urdhva Hastasana. So again, in that left shoulder, maybe there's kind of resistance from the last pose. So work to lengthen into the little fingers. Again, just working at 90, moving towards 95, holding at 95, extending a little more. So always working to extend a little more. release your arms down. So we're going to do namaste, but behind the back. So namaste is the prayer position, but we're going to do that behind our backs. So with this pose, it's again a really good shoulder opener. So those of us with stiff shoulders, these poses really help. So just stretch both arms out in front, just sharpen the action of your legs. So hit the shins back, hit the thighs back, turn the tailbone in. And then rotate the whole of the hand so that both palms are looking outwards, the backs of the hands are looking at each other. And again, as we bring the arms behind us, we're going to rotate the triceps around to the biceps, even if the chest drops in order to do so. So you reach around, keeping the triceps reaching around to the biceps, bring the tips of the fingers together, and then see if you can walk your hands up towards your neck, your fingertips up towards your neck. And then with the little fingers together, try and get the palms of the hands flat by drawing your elbows back. So drawing the elbows towards the back of the room, and then the palms of the hands start to come together. So we often see things like this, sometimes the thumbs kind of cross like that, but I want you to draw the elbows back, broaden the collarbone, draw the elbows back so that the whole of the palm is flat. Push the heels of the hands together by hitting the elbows in towards each other, and then lengthen the heels of the hands up into the fingertips. So it's strong in wrists, but it's good for kind of stiff wrists. Lift and open the chest, stay in Tadasana, be at 90. Continue to breathe evenly. Okay, to come out of the pose, just let the chest drop a little, and then just release your hands. Resist the temptation to shake your fingers, stretch the palms, and then turn the palms all the way out, turning the triceps around towards the biceps. Lift and open the chest. Just breathe in nice and softly in through the nose. And then reach the hands in front of you, interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hands, turn the palms all the way out. Don't worry about cracks and pops, and there will be some reluctance in the wrists after namaste. Have the thumbs in contact with each other, reactivate the legs, and then extend your arms up. Press the palms of the hands towards the ceiling. Work especially into the thumb side of the hand, because it's always the little finger side of the hand reaches quite easily, but the thumb side doesn't. So try and keep the thumbs together and raise the thumb side of the hand up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the outer elbows in, draw the shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe in nice and softly, in through the nose and out through the nose. Just gently release your hands, stretch your hands down. So your arms maybe feel full of energy, kind of lightness and warmth of extension. So spread the fingers, really spread into the fingertips, spread the palms of the hands. Okay, and down onto your knees. Have your hands shoulder width apart. Just pressing the palms into the floor. Lengthen the index finger forward. Make the index finger be your 12 o'clock. So the index finger stretches from the knuckle all the way into the tip of the finger, and then press the tip of the thumb firmly into the floor, so that the end of the so the skin at the end of your finger goes a lighter color. And then draw that finger towards the thumb. So, sorry, towards the index finger, so that the kind of the nail kind of faces up towards the ceiling. Then do the same with the middle finger. Press the tip of the middle finger into the floor and roll it towards the index finger. The same with the ring finger and the little finger. All of the fingers kind of roll in towards the index finger. Lengthen that index finger away. Step back. Have your feet hip width apart. Turn your toes under, and then come up into dog down. Keep those hands working really determinedly. Maybe you feel a difference in your shoulders, how your shoulders work. Rotate the triceps around to the biceps so that the crease of the elbow faces forwards towards your hands. Let your head hang down. Be quite high up on the tips of your toes. Tighten the kneecaps. Lift the thigh muscles up. Work the hands in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift and open the chest. Breathe. Maybe your shoulders feel different. Maybe they feel lighter. Draw your attention to the breath. Feeling the breath, filling the lungs to their maximum. Feeling those floating ribs opening and closing. The more you turn your attention to your breath, the easier it becomes to stay. If I'm holding you too long, then come down, rest forwards in Adho Mukha Virasana. But if you can stay and maintain, then do. Okay, gently just release, come down onto your knees, sit back on your heels, have your knees apart, and then lift and open the chest. Hinge at the hips, keep the seat bones down in contact with your heels if you possibly can. And then press the hands into the floor. And then rest the head down. So maybe you can keep better contact between the seat bones and the heels than you normally can. Partly that's because we haven't done Adho Mukha Virasana until now, but it's also partly because of the warmer weather. It gives us a little bit more natural flexibility. So our bodies flow a little better in the hot weather. As you extend your arms away, just feel energy flow through the core of the arms. And allow that energy to kind of lift from the hands into the arms, into the spine, into the torso, to the hips, into the thighs, and into the shins. Release your arms, just walk your hands close to your knees and then come up into seated position. So just come down into cross legs. Just grip around your knees and just lift and open the chest. Feel perhaps how your spine kind of lifts up out of the hips. So these floating ribs at the sides, just have your hands on the floating ribs and feel as you inhale, how they expand outwards. As you exhale, they just naturally kind of move back in. So as you inhale, they kind of just gently accommodate that breath, and they just come back to their kind of resting position with the out breath. So grip around your knees and just be conscious of those floating ribs. As you inhale, feel how those floating ribs open. As you exhale, feel how they relax. So we can do a couple of Brahmaris just because they're good energy breaths. As you practice your Brahmari pranayama, just observe the resonance in the sinuses and in the throat and in the chest. That is our energy. So breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And close your eyes if you prefer. So Brahmari pranayama is normal inhalation and then a hummed exhalation until the lungs feel empty. So just continuous cycles of longer out breath on a low hum and normal in breath. So take a normal out breath, feeling those floating ribs. Take a normal in breath and then hum the out breath. Last one. And then just bring the breath back to a normal rhythm. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Just feel the resonance of the breath remaining. And then lift the chest. Draw the chin forwards and down, drawing the chin down so that it rests in the notch between the collarbones. Lifting the chin up towards the chest. Just focus on your breath on those lower floating ribs especially. Just expanding the lungs to their maximum, feeling how that affects the expansion of the rib cage, especially those lower floating ribs. So Jalandhara Bandha. You can include Mula Bandha by lifting the anal sphincter up towards the diaphragm. Continuing to breathe evenly and in the same way. Just feeling the expansion and the contraction of the ribs as you inhale and exhale. And with an exhalation, release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha, and then lift and open the chest. Take a good deep in breath, and then with an exhalation, just turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen across, the ribs across, the shoulders across. Just working to 90%. Feeling that the seat bones feel even and level. Maybe observing the energy that you have already released, giving you lightness in the core of the bones. Come back to the center, grip around your knees. Lift and open the chest with an inhalation, and then with an exhalation, turn to the left side. Digging the backhand into the floor to aid the lift of the chest. Turning nice and gently. And then just gently come back to the center. So we can do Setu Bandha. If you're not going to do Setu Bandha today, you can do Viparita Karani, or you can go into Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you're not doing any inversions because of, if you're on a period, you've got high or low blood pressure, just do Supta Baddha Konasana. Or if you want to do an inversion but don't want to do Setu Bandha, you can do Vriksasana. Viparita Karani. So you just hold onto the sides of the mat, lift the chest. You can put a folded blanket underneath your back. If you're going to do Setu Bandha, you'll need a brick. Pull the feet towards you and shoulders flat on the floor, and then lift the seat bones up off the floor. And then just like we were doing in Gomukhsana, you got to turn the triceps around towards the biceps. So then you come right up onto the tops of the shoulders. Then get your brick, put the brick in the sacrum spine. So just right at the bottom of the spine, just slightly above the tailbone. Just place the sacrum down on the brick. Get hold of the sides of the mat, and then continue to rotate the triceps around to the biceps, so you're right up on the tops of the shoulders. So you can either stay with bent legs like this, or you can just try one leg, stretching that out, see how that feels. If that feels okay, bring it back, stretch out the other leg. If that feels okay in your back, then you can just stretch both legs out, pushing the heels away, pulling the toes towards the kneecaps. Turning the thighs inwards in Tadasana, taking good hold of the sides of the mat, almost like you're going to tear the mat apart. So you stay right up on the tops of the shoulders. So this pose especially really kind of helps you to open up the front of the hip, this kind of the join between the kind of torso and the leg. So that front of the groin rarely gets a stretch. So this pose really opens it up. It almost allows your legs to breathe. So just continue whichever version of the pose you're doing. Continue to breathe with observation in those floating ribs. So breathing fully and wholly. Keeping the legs in Tadasana. Feel that you're breathing evenly into both lungs. And if you're not, work to correct it. So you keep the chest lifted and open. Keep the thighs working as if they're in Tadasana, rotating the fronts of the thighs inwards, the fronts of the shins inwards. So the toes, the big toes, point directly to 12 o'clock. They don't kind of just roll out. The legs stay really firmly engaged. Okay, and then when you're ready, just walk your feet close to your brick and then lift the seat bones up off the brick. So even if you come up onto your tiptoes to do it, and then just guide yourself back down onto the floor. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, just giving yourself a massage in the spine. The closer towards your chest the knees come, the higher up your back you massage. If you draw your knees away from your chest, then you kind of start to find the root of the spine. So just find where you need to give your back some attention by moving the knees forwards and back. And then when you're ready, just rock yourself up into a seated position. And then just sit. We're going to have the blanket, so we're going to come into Shavasana, and then we're just going to lay ourselves down in a really good straight line. So we've got plenty of time for a nice relaxation. So the previous pose is quite strong on backs. So if it feels like you've got, so you can use a bolster for underneath your knees in Shavasana. If your back kind of feels like it's, if it needs some kind of support, or if you feel like you've worked really hard on your legs, you can just put the bolster on top of the thighs, just to let the legs just gently release. So you can use that equipment just to kind of help to release if you need to. Before you completely relax, just make sure you're in a really good straight line. If you're wearing glasses, it's nice to just take them off for this. Just have the hands resting on the back of the hand, resting on the middle knuckle, palms facing upwards. Close your eyes. And then just allow the body to just release into the floor. Allow the limbs to become heavy, the arms and the legs, the torso and the head, just allow them to become heavy on the floor. Just unhooking the muscles. Just allowing the body to release into the floor. And after a little while, you start to feel energy rise into the uppermost skin. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that energy down to the tips of the toes, the tops of the fingers, tips of the fingers, the top of the head. Continuing to breathe fully and deeply, observing those floating ribs. Using the breath to distribute your energy. So the more you can release your muscles, giving yourself permission to relax, the more you can identify your energetic body. That warm lightness on the inside of the skin. Energetic body. So in yoga, we often differentiate between the physical body, the body that kind of carries us around, that we feed with food and water. So the physical body and the energetic body. The energetic body is the breath. It's our connection with our breath and the resultant energy that we absorb, universal energy within every breath that we absorb, so that every living cell is fed with oxygen, or you might say fed with prana. The mental body is the mind, and differentiate the mind from the intellectual body. So the mental body is maybe what you might just define as the front of the brain, and the intellectual body is the back brain. So the mental body is really hard to control because it goes off in tangents, and sometimes it works against us. So in our yoga practice, we aim to draw our senses inwards, draw our mental body into our physical body to observe and to pay attention. We also draw the mental body into the energetic body, into the breath. And all the time, the intellectual body is the overseer, observes changes, and the intellectual body is the feeling of the body. When we're in the pose, we pay attention to the feeling so that we get a deeper perception of our body in 3 dimensions. When the intellectual body works in unity with the physical body, the energetic body and the mental body, when those four bodies work together, physical, energetic, mental and intellectual, then we get a glimpse of Ananda Maya Kosa, the blissful body. Okay, when you're ready, just gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, just bringing yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. And then bend your knees, pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just giving yourself just a gentle grounding massage on your spine. Just bringing your energy back down into the body. And then just roll onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg. Come back up into a seated position. Sitting in cross legs with your hands in Namaste, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath down into the abdominal region, the Samanic breath. Because the Samanic breath helps us to connect with our energy. Feel that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And send some of that positive energy out into the world. Then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and focus to softly come back. Thank you. So hopefully you feel nice and energized and light on the inside, and you've got lots of energy to do positive things with the rest of your day. So thank you very much.